Chapter 611. True Beginning. Wei Chen didn't even put his luggage away, nor did he ask where he would be staying. His attention towards the two beauties had also been just a small spark that flickered away almost instantly. With the quickest speed, he began discussing today's news in glory because this piece of news was related to their team entering the professional alliance. In an instant, Chen Guo couldn't help but have a change of heart towards this vulgar male. No matter his personality, his passion towards glory was something that any player would respect. What does Excellent Era have planned? Wei Chen urgently asked Yi Shu. How should I know? Yi Xiu's aide. You sound too much like an outsider. Wei Chen was astonished. What are you? Excellent Era's great. Great what? Yi Shu interrupted Wei Chen and pulled him outside the internet cafe. It was very busy at the internet cafe right now. If Wei Chen shouted out Yi Shu's identity as a god, would he ever live a peaceful life again? Happy Internet Cafe would quickly become an Excellent Era heroic monument. Fans would come every day to see and pay their respects to him. Wei Chen quickly realized why Yi Shu had pulled him outside. He looked down on Yi Shu. You're still acting like a hidden boss? Don't call me Yi Shu. Call me Yi Shu, got it? Yi Shu scolded. Wow, you actually have an alternate account, Wei Chen gasped. Go go go. Let's get you to the living arrangements and we'll talk there, Yi Shu said. Go where? Wei Chen asked. To where you'll be staying, Yi Shu said. The others helped Wei Chen carry his luggage and walked over to Forest Park. As soon as they walked into the spacious living area, Wei Chen wasn't as wowed as Steamed Bun had been. The expression on his face was very similar to Yi Shu's expression when he had heard that they would be living in such a place. Clearly, as some of the earliest players to enter the scene, he and Yi Shu had experienced the difficulties during the beginning of the pro scene. Even though it couldn't compare to a professional club, these comfortable conditions were more than enough to make him feel happy, especially for Wei Chen. When he had been in the pro scene, he hadn't lasted long enough to enjoy the benefits of the professional alliance's rapid growth and the flourishing clubs. Chen Guo providing this living condition had deeply touched Wei Chen. There are 6 bedrooms upstairs. If we can gather everyone on the team, it will be 2-person to a room. Sorry everyone, Chen Guo said. For another god, it might be a bit pitiful for them, but not for us. We've braved and endured the hard times. These living conditions definitely aren't anything to be sorry about, Wei Chen firmly said. Thanks, Chen Guo smiled. Her impression of Wei Chen continued to improve. Wei Chen circled around the place 2 times. He clearly didn't have any problems with the living conditions. After walking around, he started talking about the announcement by Excellent Era today. I really don't know what they're planning, Yi Shu said helplessly. Excellent Era is right there. Why can't you just go over and ask them? Wei Chen was very unsatisfied. Do you think that's even possible? Yi Shu said. Even if you had a falling out with Excellent Era, there are so many people in the club. You don't even have a single friend you can ask? What about that beautiful partner of yours? Did you also have a falling out with her? Wei Chen said. Wei Chen was obviously talking about Su Muqing, but by the time Su Muqing had entered the scene, Wei Chen had already retired, so his understanding of Su Muqing was only at a normal spectator's level. A normal spectator just knew that Yi Shu and Su Muqing had been good partners with each other for several years, but this description was towards their performance on stage. As for their private relationship, they could only listen to gossip and guess. No one had any concrete proof. When Wei Chen spoke about her, Chen Guo responded. She obviously knew that Su Muqing and Yi Shu didn't have any problems with each other, so she also looked at Yi Shu. That isn't too convenient, is it? Yi Shu said. Why not? Wei Chen asked. She's still a pro player under Excellent Era's banner, Yi Shu said. Wei Chen sounded surprised. You really are good partners. It seems like your relationship with each other is very good to make even someone as shameless as you to care. You don't want her to be stuck between the two sides, right? Chen Guo listened and immediately understood. It was very convenient for Su Muqing to spy on Excellent Era, but why didn't Yi Shu ask her? It wasn't that Yi Shu didn't think about it. He didn't want her to get mixed up in this mess. After all, Su Muqing was still a member of Excellent Era. If she blurted out the team's secrets, it would be very unprofessional. So it's like that. After Wei Chen thought about it for a bit, he suddenly had an idea. How about you let me use your QQ account? I'll go ask and then you can just pretend that you got hacked. How about it? Yi Shu didn't answer. He just looked expressionlessly at Wei Chen. No good. Too bad. You have such an amazing resource and you're not even using it. What a pity. In order to reach our goal, we have to be ruthless and win through any means necessary, but you've got so many emotions. I look down on you. I have too. Where's my room? You can pick anyone you like upstairs. Yi Shu acted like he didn't hear Wei Chen's previous rant and answered his question. I'll put my stuff down before I continuing to look down on you. Wei Chen picked up his luggage. I'm in room 1 upstairs. Do you want to be my roommate? Steamed Bun yelled loudly. Are there any open rooms available? Wei Chen asked. Yes. Steamed Bun is living in room 1. Every other room is empty, Chen Guo replied. Then I'll pick a room for myself for now, Wei Chen said. He didn't go into Steamed Bun's room and put his luggage down in room 2. He didn't plan on immediately unpacking though. He threw his luggage in and then came back downstairs. He still wanted to talk to Yi Shu. You should at least have some guess as to what Excellent Era is planning, right? Wei Chen impatiently asked. With my understanding of Excellent Era's current team members, Excellent Era really has planned to get relegated. However, it's not necessarily intentional. It really might be because they have no other choice. Today, they announced Sun Shang was sick in order to find an excuse for getting relegated. If they didn't have to, I'm sure they wouldn't get relegated, Yi Shu said. With Excellent Era's foundation, how can they not even have confidence in staying in the professional league? Wei Chen didn't understand. Their morale is gone. It's not easy for the team. Excellent Era's problem isn't with their skill, but rather with their mentality, Yi Shu said. Mentality? Wei Chen said. They don't want to be the one to blame, Yi Shu sighed. Why does that sound so lowly of them? Wei Chen was dumbstruck. Excellent Era's players have gotten in a conflict with me in the game before. They ended up getting wiped, Yi Shu said. What do you mean by Excellent Era's players? Their starting roster? Wei Chen was astonished. Pretty much, Yi Shu said. You're joking. How did you do that? Wei Chen didn't believe him. I had the advantage in numbers, Yi Shu said. How many more? 2, Yi Shu said. Those weren't normal players, were they? Wei Chen said. They were players from Heavenly Justice. They're the current members of the future team Heavenly Swords, Yi Shu said. Then their skill should be pretty good, right? Wei Chen said. They're okay. But to wipe out a pro team like Excellent Era, isn't that too much? Wei Chen said. I agree, Yi Shu nodded his head. Couldn't you be a little more King modest? Just a little bit, Wei Chen said. I'm just telling the truth. Didn't you also say that you find it inconceivable? Yi Shu said. I find your inability to be modest inconceivable, Wei Chen said. You're joking. With how unscrupulous you are, how could you possibly find anything inconceivable? Yi Shu said. Ahem, Chen Guo coughed. Are you two practicing your trash talking? The two glared at each other. I'm warning you not to run away from the subject, Wei Chen said in a serious voice like he was the team captain. I said what I needed to say, Yi Shu said. Oh, if it's just that, then you might affect the mentality of those Excellent Era members for a bit of time, but a single loss shouldn't make the entire team depressed for so long. That doesn't seem like the type of drive a pro player should have, Wei Chen said. Yi Shu nodded his head. Maybe we should look at their recordings and analyze their performances, Wei Chen said. We should, Yi Shu said. Are there any computers here? Is there Wi-Fi? Wei Chen looked around. Not yet, Chen Guo said. She had only just gotten the apartment yesterday, so she wasn't done setting everything up. Then let's go back to the internet cafe, Wei Chen asked. Sure, Yi Shu got up. The other three followed them. They were pretty much just listening to their conversation. Towards the pro scene, even though Wei Chen had retired for so long, he was still much better than the other three. No matter how skilled Tang Ru and Steamed Bun were, in terms of their ability to analyze issues, they couldn't compare to these two experienced pros. They left the apartment and returned to the internet cafe. Room 213 was a 4-person room, but now they had 5 people. There weren't enough computers. Fortunately, they were just watching a recording, so they only needed one computer. Yishu opened up the VOD folder on his computer. All of the videos lined up made Wei Chen comment, "Not bad, not bad. It seems like you've been doing your homework. Let's watch this match. This is the fight we had in game." It was from here that Excellent Era's performance started to decline, Yishu said. Okay, Wei Chen nodded. These two leaned forward in front of the computer. Chen Guo and Tang Ru looked at each other. They felt like they had become outsiders. Steamed Bun didn't seem to have any thoughts. He just squeezed behind them and watched the video very seriously. Comrades, we need to study this carefully. If Excellent Era really gets relegated, they'll be our strongest opponents in the Challenger League. We have to use this time wisely and understand our opponent. Now, the former god, former captain of Excellent Era, and the most shameless person in all of Glory, Yi Shu will be analyzing this match for everyone, Wei Chen said. Even though his words didn't say much, Chen Guo suddenly realized that from this moment onwards, their team would truly begin operating. Chapter 612. Lose the battle, but win the war. Did you watch this match? Just before the match began, Wei Chen asked Yi Shu. I watched a bit of it after it concluded, Yi Shu said. That day, Happy Internet Cafe hadn't broadcast this match, so Yi Shu had watched a recording of it later. Oh, Wei Chen nodded his head and didn't say anything else. On the screen, the match had begun. It was progressing quite quickly. By the time the individual competition and the group arena ended, Wei Chen already had his hands against his forehead. You devil. Look at the sins you've committed. What exactly did you do to them? Wei Chen grieved. Yi Shu was expressionless. He continued to quietly watch the match. In the team competition, Excellent Era lost miserably. For this match between Excellent Era and Thunderclap, the final result was 1 point to 9 points in favor of Thunderclap. Their performance had been nauseating to watch. Wei Chen couldn't even keep watching. It was so terrible that, in a post-match interview, Team Thunderclap's captain Xiao Shiken didn't even know what to say. Facing the question, how did you think your opponents performed today, a question every player could recite backwards, Xiao Shiken had been stumped. There wasn't even one good point about that match. Everything about it was terrible. Do you have the post-match statistics? Wei Chen asked. I do. Yi Shu opened up another folder with documents on the statistics for every match. Each document matched up with a recording. Wow, holy sh*t, hurry up and get me a bucket. I'm going to puke. Wei Chen glanced at the post-match statistics and remarked. Let's watch the next match. Yi Shu was calmer. The next match isn't going to be like this too, is it? How about you give me a summary? I'm scared that my old heart won't be able to handle it. It isn't easy for someone my age. Wei Chen pressed on his stomach and acted like he was an elderly grandpa. In reality, his age was only relative to Glory's professional scene. At this moment, he wasn't even 30 yet. He was a young person no matter how you looked. They got 2 points in this match, Yi Shu calmly stated. Oh, then let's begin. Wei Chen looked as if he were about to watch a horror film. Moments after the match began, everyone heard someone shout, "The bucket has arrived." Everyone turned their heads in astonishment. Steamed Bun had actually slipped out of the room. Who knew when and had returned just now. He carried a bucket in his hands and handed it over to Wei Chen. Go ahead and puke. Wei Chen stared stupidly at Steamed Bun. Bro, are you serious? Are you serious? Are you going to puke or not? Steamed Bun questioned. Wei Chen turned towards Yi Shu. Is he really going to be a part of our team? Yi Shu nodded his head. You're joking, right? Wei Chen asked. Stop with this nonsense. It's starting, Yi Shu said to Wei Chen before turning to speak to Steamed Bun. Steamed Bun, put the bucket down. Let's watch the match. I'll be putting the bucket over here. If you need to puke, just say the word, Steamed Bun called out before placing the bucket in the corner. The recording began. This match had been that day's highlight match. Happy Internet Cafe had broadcast this match. It was between Excellent Era and Samsara. In the individual competition, Excellent Era had earned a total of 2 points. In the group arena, Zhou Zikai swept the field. During the team competition, the fight had been just as nauseating to watch as it had been in the previous match. This guy adjusts quickly. He performed quite well in his match. They replayed the recording. In the second round of the individual competition, Wei Chen praised one of Excellent Era's players. The winner of this second round was Excellent Era's Liu Hao. Yi Shu nodded his head at the praise, while Chen Guo gave a snort of contempt. Excellent Era lost the third round, but having won 2 points already, this loss was easier to accept. At this moment, Wei Chen was more spirited. He felt like this individual competition didn't require the bucket. However, in the group arena, Excellent Era had been cleanly swept by a single enemy, making Wei Chen speechless. In the end, he gave a way out for Excellent Era. That punk Zhou Zikai is looking pretty stylish now. Excellent Era isn't in good condition either. Beating them 1v3 isn't too surprising. Yi Shu didn't comment. The match moved to the team competition. Even though Wei Chen hadn't watched this team competition before, he knew the end result because Yi Shu had told him that Excellent Era had only earned 2 points total in this entire match. However, they were studying the match, so the process during which it happened was more important than the end result. Right now, they needed to analyze what problems Excellent Era had encountered during this match. What's wrong? Would you like the bucket? After the team competition ended, Yi Shu asked. Wei Chen actually shook his head. He didn't say anything, as if he was thinking about something. Keep going? Yi Shu asked. Continue. Wei Chen didn't express any opinions about this team competition. He only told Yi Shu to play the next match. The two continued to quietly watch match after match. Once the recordings finished, they would check the statistics, but none of them made any verbal exchanges. As for Chen Guo, Tang Ru, and Steam Bun, they had been watching along too. However, whether or not they were analyzing it carefully or watching it for fun, only they knew. They could skip over the short breaks in between the competitions, so they watched each match in one sitting. Moreover, Excellent Era usually got dominated, so the matches progressed swiftly. They practically all finished in less than an hour. They kept watching matches, not caring about the amount of time that passed, until they had reviewed all of the matches at least once. Midway through the session, Wei Chen had gotten a pen and paper. He was constantly writing stuff down. Yi Shu occasionally glanced to see what he was writing, but didn't do anything else. After the final match concluded, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Did you two discover anything? Chen Guo impatiently wanted to know the results. For her, this was like a suspense film. Excellent Era kept on losing. Did we make a mistake? Steam Bun commented, but he clearly didn't know what was going on. This guy was an expert in glory, but he didn't have much understanding of its pro scene. On the other hand, Tang Ru didn't express any opinions. She just silently waited for Yi Shu and Wei Chen to speak. What are your thoughts? Wei Chen asked Yi Shu. I've watched them all before. Why don't you tell me your thoughts? Yi Shu asked. Lose the battle, but win the war. What do you think? Wei Chen said. Sounds about right. Yi Shu let out a sigh. What do you guys mean by that? Chen Guo asked. Wei Chen lifted up his notebook with a bunch of arcane symbols on it and pointed at these symbols that no one could read. The problem with Excellent Era is the mentality of their players. From these matches and statistics, we can see some of this. First, there's the impact on some of them from the fight in-game. This impact could clearly be seen. That disgusting match that made me want to puke was because of this reason. The person affected the most was their core player, Sun Shang. The impact of that in-game fight on Sun Shang changed over time. This can be seen through his performance in this match. Initially, he had been struck a heavy blow. He was unable to concentrate during the match, so he frequently made noob mistakes, but as time went on, he slowly began to adjust. However, this doesn't mean that the impact from that in-game fight completely disappeared. After that match, Sun Shang became impatient to show off his skill. To put it plainly, at his current level, pursuing glory is a good choice. His skill has already been publicly acknowledged. He doesn't need any proof, but clearly, because of a certain god, he might have started to doubt himself, which was why he appears so impatient. Simply put, in the beginning he was unable to concentrate, but afterwards, he became too focused, causing his playing to become erratic. This is how a noob behaves. Instead of maintaining his condition, he keeps up his guard against everyone. Wei Chen said. A perfect example of an experienced player, the opposite of Sun Xiang, is that punk Lu Hao. Apart from an extremely terrible first round, he performed quite steadily. If you pay attention to his individual competition and group arena win rate, you can see all these things present. His performances have been pretty good. Even with the team being a complete mess, Lu Hao still showed moments of brilliance. As for the other players, most of them fit into one of two categories. A portion of them had been deeply impacted by a certain god. The others, like Su Mucheng and even a few substitute players, were normal. However, even if this god didn't harm them in any way, their team brought them down. Because the team performed terribly, their normal conditions were also brought down with the team. Afterwards, they continually infect each other, resulting in Excellent Era's current plight. If we pick out Sun Xiang and Lu Hao, these two are the only exceptions. After Sun Xiang woke up, he was able to piece himself back together. Unfortunately, he was unable to piece the team back together, along with himself. There are probably a lot of reasons why. For example, he's a new member of the team. Even if he holds the title of team captain, he doesn't have much of an influence on the team, or maybe he was only in a rush to prove himself and didn't think of the team's conditions. Or he might have thought of it, but the team's condition was so bad that he didn't know how to fix it, so he didn't bother. As for Lu Hao, our god here should explain it. He clearly knows this person better than I do. His analysis would be much more accurate and trustworthy. Wei Chen chattered a bunch and then shifted it over to Yi Shu. Yi Shu let out a sigh. Lu Hao is only thinking about his own future. He has already abandoned his team. Ha, so it really is like that. That's why I said, lose the battle, win the war. Even though Excellent Era performed terribly, someone like Lu Hao was able to display his strength. Not only was he dragged down by his team, he even showed brilliance in this sort of environment. By putting himself above the others, he's probably planning on using this opportunity to climb up into a higher branch. Also, I'm afraid Lu Hao isn't the only one with these types of thoughts. The team's already like this. Their record is so poor already. It'd be strange if they didn't have these thoughts. Wei Chen said. Chapter 613. Teammate. When a team faces a crisis, isn't working together to improve and resolve the crisis the most logical thing to do? But when Excellent Era faced this crisis, with Lu Hao at the lead, a few of the players have already regarded the team to be a sinking ship and they plan on abandoning the ship to save their own lives, Yi Shu concluded. Then for what reason are they hiding Sun Xiang? Chen Guo asked. This decision will only benefit them whether or not Excellent Era ends up getting relegated, Yi Shu said. Why? Chen Guo asked. There are only two possible results for Excellent Era this season. The first possibility would be that they don't get relegated, which would be great. Even with Sun Xiang, there wouldn't be a better result. But without Sun Xiang, if Excellent Era can hold onto their spot, they can make an announcement telling everyone know that they can place their hopes on Excellent Era next season. After all, Excellent Era can't consider keeping their spot of victory. They need to let their fans know that their goal is to be the champion. Yi Shu said. If they get relegated, they would use Sun Xiang as an excuse, saying that it was due to his absence, Chen Guo deduced. That's only one excuse. It would be disastrous if they actually got relegated. Excellent Era needs to do a lot of work to put their fans at ease. Just look at today's news. Sun Xiang suddenly had to stop because of an injury. He had been playing with the injury for such a long time and needed to stop. As a result, they even gave an excuse for their previous performances. However, for Excellent Era, such terrible performances can't only be due to their ace player being injured. This summer, Excellent Era will probably have a huge upheaval. Only something like that could give the team's fans any hope. Once the fans have lost hope in the team is truly in a predicament. Thus, everything Excellent Era is doing right now is to urge their fans to continue supporting them. No matter the end result, they absolutely cannot allow the fans to lose hope in them. The reason they're hiding Sun Xiang and using him as an excuse is because Sun Xiang represents the core of Excellent Era, Yi Shu added. Got it, Chen Guo let out a sigh. After knowing all of this, what should we do? We can't do anything for now. Yi Shu let out a bitter laugh. We'll have to wait until the results come out first. However, it'd be best if everyone lit some incense for Excellent Era, because if Excellent Era gets relegated, Excellent Era being in the Challenger League will only be more terrifying than it is right now. It'd be best if we didn't meet such an opponent in the Challenger League, Wei Chen added. This unscrupulous guy was also filled with worry. Then what if we beat Excellent Era in the Challenger League? Would Excellent Era be completely done for? Tang Ru suddenly asked. Eliminate Excellent Era, Wei Chen stared blankly. Once Excellent Era gets eliminated, even though they could participate in next year's Challenger League, how could anyone support a team that needed to attempt the Challenger League twice? Would a god like Sun Shang be willing to waste his golden years in the Challenger League? If that actually happened, Excellent Era would fall into a vicious cycle and they would eventually fall. Are you planning on personally putting an end to the dynasty you created? Wei Chen turned to Yi Shu. What do you mean plan? If we actually meet them, we have to beat them. That's what it means to be a pro. I know you have no idea what that means, Yi Shu said. Do you know? Wei Chen said with contempt. The two people once again began talking trash each other. Luckily, Chen Guo promptly interrupted them. If that's the case, we'll have to work even harder. It's getting late. How about we all take a rest? The boss had spoken. Everyone still respected her words. Plus, they had been watching the match recordings for a long time, so they really were a bit exhausted. They left the room. Wei Chen walked to the head of the flight of stairs and waited there as if he wanted to say something to Yi Shu, but then he saw Yi Shu walk into his room. What's going on? Wei Chen immediately went back, but then he saw Chen Guo and Tang Ru also go into this room. What is this? Wei Chen was even more astonished now, but he heard a bang as the door closed shut. Old Wei, are you coming or not? Bao Zi had long since reached the bottom of the stairs and called out to Wei Chen. Impudent. You can't call me Old Wei. Even though Wei Chen was astonished, he couldn't just break down the door to see what was going on. Hearing Bao Zi call out to him, he scolded him, while walking down the stairs. Then what do I call you? Wei Old? Bao Zi asked. Quote. Just call me Old Wei. Wei Chen gave up. Didn't I say so earlier? Bao Zi said. What did you say? Wei Chen asked. What? Bao Zi. Wei Chen. What? Wei Chen looked up speechlessly. Just this teammate alone made him have some doubts about his decision towards Yi Shu's invitation. After resting for the night, everyone gathered together at the internet cafe the next morning. When Chen Guo saw that two people had already arrived, she immediately began changing the second floor's layout. She even thought about directly remodeling the second floor to transform it into the team's practice room, but later, Yi Shu put in great effort to dissuade her. We've just started. There is no need to be so lavish. Having a room without any disturbances is already very good. There isn't actually any need to make changes yet. Just let us have a few rooms. We don't all need to sit together, Yi Shu urged. It's still better if everyone's nearby. Although Chen Guo gave up on completely renovating the second floor, she was still adamant towards having everyone sit together. The workers she had contacted before arrived today and began working. Wei Chen and Bao Zi came to the internet cafe together and went straight to the second floor. As Wei Chen passed the inner rooms, he sneakily looked into them, unlike Bao Zi, who didn't even take a glance. Chen Guo was personally supervising the changes. Seeing that the two had come, she called out to them and then led them to room 213. After Wei Chen and Bao Zi went in, they saw that Yi Shu and Tang Ru were already busy. When they looked, the two people were both in a dungeon. Teammate Bao Zi had already shocked Wei Chen in a way. At this moment, he prepared himself to check on his other teammate. When he saw that Tang Ru was a battle mage, Wei Chen couldn't help but glance at Yi Shu. With such a top-tier battle mage coaching her, this girl's skill should be very good, right? Speaking of which, Wei Chen had never seen Bao Zi play before. He had only ever interacted with him in person. Although he knew that if Yi Shu had pulled them onto the team, they must have at least some skill, but he couldn't help but have some doubts. Wei Chen watched as Tang Ru played. On the other side, Bao Zi had sat down, turned on his computer, and inserted his account card. Then, he called out, Old Wei, come sit here. How about we compare notes, so I can see how good you are? Wei Chen nearly coughed up blood all over the wall. He hadn't even examined him yet and this guy dared to ask him how good he was. Sure. Let me see how good you really are, Wei Chen said and stopped watching Tang Ru play. He went over and sat down. He was ready to give this steamed bun a good lesson. I'm here. Where are you? Wei Chen rushed into the arena and shouted. Normal server, room 5684, Bao Zi was much calmer than Wei Chen. But when Wei Chen clicked on the room, he immediately entered. Bao Zi didn't even set a password on this room. Then, he saw that Bao Zi hadn't even made it a 1v1. There were already 7 players inside. It was clearly a team battle. What are you doing? Wei Chen asked strangely. He turned his head to look at Bao Zi's screen. Steamed Bun was sitting all alone in a room waiting for him. Just when he was about to ask, Yi Shu poked his head out. Is this your first time playing? Do you want to go to the normal server arena from the heavenly domain? Yi Shu didn't need to look to know what problem the two had encountered. 10th server? Wei Chen was surprised. Then, he carefully checked Bao Zi's screen. His character was a brawler called Steamed Bun Invasion, level 61. Wei Chen suddenly became furious. This F*King Bao Zi wanted to test his strength and he wasn't even max level yet. At the same time, he recalled that Yi Shu had said that these two people were new to the game. He didn't think much of it at that time. Now that he was seeing it for himself, 10th server, level 61 character, Bao Zi was very new to the game. He probably started playing when the 10th server was released. If that were the case, then he must have only played for 4 months at best. Someone who had only played for 4 months wanted to join the pro scene? As a former pro player, Wei Chen didn't dare to believe it. He needed to check on this Bao Zi's skill. You wait, Wei Chen said and had his windward formation enter a normal server. Through this way, a heavenly domain character could enter the normal server arena, but his normal arena record wouldn't transfer to his heavenly domain record. Make a new room. Fixed field, Wei Chen said to Bao Zi. Bao Zi was puzzled. He turned his head to look at Wei Chen's screen and immediately understood. Wow, you don't have any equipment. Of course we have to go to the fixed field. Wei Chen was about to cough blood again. His windward formation really was naked, but of course that was the case. When he came back to the normal server from the heavenly domain, his equipment would be left behind. Was that why he asked for the fixed field? Of course not. It was because there was a level discrepancy between them. The issue of not having equipment would be fixed in the fixed field too, but that wasn't the main reason. It definitely wasn't. Room number, Wei Chen burst out when he arrived at the arena. Chapter 614. Comparing notes. Haha, little punk, now you know this signor's might. Wei Chen laughed. He had clearly beaten Steamed Bun to a pulp. Steamed Bun was more than good enough to crush an overwhelming majority of players, but he wasn't a match against an experienced opponent. Wei Chen was, without a doubt, an experienced player and a former pro at that. Even though he was no longer as good as he had been in his glory days, he could only accumulate more and more experience. On the other hand, Steamed Bun was someone who had only started playing glory for 4 months. Even if he had talent, had a strong foundation, and improved quickly, it was far from enough to beat an expert like Wei Chen. Ah, I lost, Steamed Bun replied with sorrow. Don't be so emotional. This is completely normal, Wei Chen laughed delightedly. Tisk tisk, how despicable, Yi Shu didn't even watch the match. He had only heard their results. With Wei Chen's skill, being so delighted about beating a beginner who had only been playing for 4 months was really despicable. He couldn't help but express his opinions. Right, there's no need to be so emotional, Steamed Bun seemed to have come to a realization. I can just try again. What? Wei Chen was surprised. Steamed Bun's thought process going from no need to be emotional to trying again caught him off guard. Come. Don't be afraid. Let's play again, Steamed Bun said. F***ck, you think I'm afraid of a noob like you? Wei Chen said and accepted the challenge. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Wei Chen laughed wildly every time he won. His laughter became louder each time. Even the workers outside were starting to feel annoyed. Chen Guo opened the door to the room and looked inside. What's going on? 8-0, Wei Chen wrote it in the air. TL means 8. Seriously? Chen Guo looked at Yi Shu in astonishment. What are you looking at me for? It's between him and Steamed Bun, Yi Shu said. Seriously? Chen Guo looked at Wei Chen in astonishment. Her disdain was exactly the same as Yi Shu's initial reaction. Chen Guo also felt that, with Wei Chen's status, it was too low of him to feel so delighted for destroying Steamed Bun. But Wei Chen clearly didn't care and continued to look at Steamed Bun in glee. What do you think now, you little punk? Amazing, amazing. I didn't think you would be so amazing. What's your background? Steamed Bun sighed. You'd better sit still when you hear it. This senior is Team Blue Rain's former captain and the original owner of the Great Swaksar. I hope I didn't scare you, Wei Chen spoke. Oh. Wei Chen clearly wasn't happy with Steamed Bun's indifferent reaction. Suxu, what's that? Steamed Bun asked. You don't even know who that is. That's the #1 warlock in glory. A godly existence, Wei Chen exclaimed. Oh, Steamed Bun gasped. He really needs some catching up to do, Wei Chen spoke to Yi Shu. Is it important to know that type of stuff? Yi Shu asked back. Of course, Wei Chen acted like he was a holy saint. It's passing on one's knowledge and conviction to the future generations. Quote. How about you talk about Steamed Bun's skill? Yi Shu shifted topics. He's not bad. For a player who's only been playing for 4 months, he's pretty decent, Wei Chen commented. You're not speaking with much confidence, Yi Shu remarked. F***CK, how am I lacking confidence? Wei Chen shouted. You almost lost, didn't you? Yi Shu said. TCH, he's got a long ways to go if he wants to beat me, Wei Chen said out loud, but on QQ, he shot Yi Shu a message, sh*t, I got careless once and he almost turned it around. Ha ha ha, who told you to hold on for dear life? Yi Shu replied. I wasn't holding on for dear life. I can still beat him, but that Steamed Bun always makes weird moves. Even though most of the time he's a complete mess, he occasionally makes you really sweat, Wei Chen typed. Quite surprising, right? Yi Shu remarked. Indeed. Once that little punk improves his fundamentals and game knowledge, who knows what he'll be like. From the looks of it, if we helped him consolidate his game knowledge and have him do some practice to improve his mechanics, he'll be good. In terms of experience, teaching him too much would actually be harmful, Wei Chen said. Who needs you to say that? Yi Shu replied. With this guy's style, once you die, oh that's not right, once you retire, you can give your unspecialized to him. That will certainly be a scene to see, Wei Chen said. Oh, Yi Shu was surprised, but an unspecialized. I know what you want to say. According to common knowledge, only someone who is proficient with every class can play an unspecialized character, but have you ever thought about what would happen if you had a completely blank slate begin playing an unspecialized and have him treat it as a complicated class? Wei Chen asked. That's definitely an interesting thought, Yi Shu replied. Even though Steamed Bun isn't a completely blank slate, he's very simple-minded. His noobness isn't because he's new to the game, but rather his personality. If you had him treat your unspecialized as a new class, he might actually be able to do it. Think about it, with a 120 extremely quick, short cooldown skills at his disposal and his chaotic play style, what would that be like? Wei Chen wondered. Even more chaotic, Yi Shu said. But that's what makes him scary. Wei Chen felt some lingering fear in his heart. It's just that unspecialized characters won't last very long, Yi Shu said. That's true. Glory hasn't raised the level cap in 3 years, right? Yi Shu said. Yeah. I suspect that by the time we make it back into the pro scenes, they'll have raised the level cap at least once, Wei Chen said. Yeah. But every time they raise the level cap, it will usually only be 5 levels, so level 75. It's something that an unspecialized can still cope with for now, Yi Shu said. We'll wait and see. When the time is right, we can let Steamed Bun try out an unspecialized, Wei Chen said. Okay, Yi Shu agreed. What about that pretty girl? How good is she? Wei Chen asked. Why don't you play a practice match against her and see for yourself? Yi Shu asked. Okay, Wei Chen happily agreed. Little Tang, how about you have a practice match with Wei Chen? Yi Shu turned to Tang Ru. Sure. Let me finish this dungeon first. Tang Ru was currently leveling inside a dungeon. She definitely wouldn't refuse to play a practice match. She loved to compete. Soon afterwards, Tang Ru exited the dungeon and went to the fixed field. Wei Chen had already set up a room, waiting for her. Tang Ru went in and the two immediately started fighting. Yi Shu didn't watch them and continued to level up his Lord Grim. Tang Ru was sitting next to him though, so he would occasionally take a peek at the situation. Tang Ru's situation was virtually the same as steamed buns. Both of them lacked experience, and experience was Wei Chen's strength. Yi Shu didn't know how badly steamed bun had been beaten up, but Tang Ru was being completely suppressed. There wouldn't be any suspense in who would win, but Yi Shu reckoned that Wei Chen could feel some pressure from Tang Ru's playstyle. In the first match, Wei Chen easily won, just like Yi Shu predicted. Your mechanics are very good. Quick and precise, Wei Chen pointed out Tang Ru's strengths after winning. Thanks. Again? Tang Ru asked. Come, Wei Chen happily accepted. On QQ, Yi Shu sent him a laughing emoji. What? Wei Chen was puzzled. You have to stop, Yi Shu said. Stop? This massacre? It's no pressure at all, Wei Chen said. Ha ha, Yi Shu laughed. Ha, your sister, Wei Chen replied and then fought again. Ha ha, I'm sorry pretty girl. I won again, Wei Chen said at the end of the following match. Again? Sure. When the third match began, Yi Shu dungeoned, while sipping his tea. He didn't need to look. He could tell from the sounds of their keyboards and clicking that the pace for this match was going faster. Tang Ru was going all out. Her peak condition usually didn't show at the start of the match. Her true skill oftentimes didn't appear until she faced a predicament. She was a perfect example of becoming stronger with the strength of her opponent. However, Wei Chen still won the third match. Wei Chen gave a cough. He was just about to say something, when Tang Ru stared at him, her battle spirit burning. Again? Wei Chen looked around until he stopped on Yi Shu, but he discovered that Yi Shu had hidden himself behind his monitor. Come, Wei Chen didn't refuse, but his voice was becoming drier. What the F***ck is this? He quickly shot Yi Shu a message on QQ. Stop, Yi Shu said again, but this time, Wei Chen was starting to understand. On the fourth match, Wei Chen won again, but before he could say anything, Tang Ru's soft mist had already clicked ready in the lobby. When he raised his head to look at Tang Ru, she was staring at him, extremely eager for another try. Last match, Wei Chen was starting to lose confidence. Tang Ru didn't comment. She continued to try her hardest and in the end, Tang Ru won. Wei Chen let out a sigh of relief when he heard Tang Ru doubt him. You didn't intentionally lose, did you? No, definitely not, Wei Chen hastily answered. Ha 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 ha, Yi Shu finally said something and then added, okay. Old Wei is tired now. Give him a break, little Tang. Tang Ru wasn't so stubborn that she wouldn't drop the matter until he died. Even though she was reluctant, she let it go. F***ck, Wei Chen messaged Yi Shu. What do you think about her? Yi Shu asked. She's incredible. The more she fights, the fiercer she becomes. My old hands are about to cramp up, Wei Chen said. Did you give her the win on that last one? Yi Shu asked. No sh**t. You don't actually believe I'd actually keep going until my hands cramped, did you? If I did, I'd be sick, Wei Chen said. She's also someone who's only played for 4 months, Yi Shu said. To think you'd be able to pick up 2 players like this in the 10th server. With the blessings that the God of Glory has bestowed upon you, you'd better return to the Alliance and win that championship, Wei Chen puffed. God of Glory? You mean me, Yi Shu replied. F***ck off. Enough with your sh**t. Wei Chen cursed. Chapter 615. Qingming Festival. He even discussed the issue of hiding these talents with Yi Shu. At the same time, he also asked if there were any hidden talents undiscovered. After all, only having 4 people in the team was not enough. This issue made Wei Chen a little disappointed. The other 2 confirmed members on the team, Little Cold Hands and Concealed Light, were unable to reach Steamed Bun or Tang Ru's level of expectation. However, this was not enough to cause a tactful guy like Wei Chen to feel worried over. He and Yi Shu alike had experienced the initial stage of the professional league. If he had to compare the two, he would find the current situation not bad. It was excellent era's records that had caused Wei Chen to feel a little vexed. Even though it would feel good to personally bury his previous glory and restart his journey again, a tactful guy like Wei Chen no longer had the hot-bloodedness like a youth. On the contrary, he wished to avoid excellent era and take down the Challenger League safely. Everyone had something busy to do the next day. Chen Guo supervised the decorating. Yi Shu, Tang Ru and Steamed Bun leveled up on their own, while Wei Chen switched back to his spy account and Samsara to continue to be a hired thug. Due to the fact that they had different levels in the game, the four people weren't able to interact together as a group for the time being. A day passed. The next day, Chen Guo woke up very early. She handed all her decoration work to Tang Ru today because she had something else to do. April 4th was this year's Qingming festival. Chen Guo would visit her deceased father's grave every year. After she had left her room quietly and went down the stairs, Chen Guo was startled. She didn't think that Yi Shu would be up earlier than her. He was also neatly dressed as he sat casually at the reception desk. Chen Guo looked suspiciously towards the reception desk. Yi Shu wasn't just neatly dressed. He was dressed very formally. Morning, Yi Shu and Chen Guo greeted each other. You're going out? Chen Guo looked at Yi Shu's attire and made a guess. It was already April and the weather was becoming warmer, so there was no need to wear different clothes indoors and outdoors, which made it hard for Chen Guo to judge. Yeah, Yi Shu nodded. That's new. Where are you going? Chen Guo was curious. Yi Shu had been to Happy Internet Cafe for 4 months. Apart from All Stars Weekend and Spring Festival, his range of activity had never left this street. I'm going to visit a grave, Yi Shu spoke. Huh? Where are you going to visit? Chen Guo was startled. Because of Yi Shu's brother Yi Chu's previous visit, Chen Guo was sure that Yi Shu wasn't from City H. If he planned on visiting a grave, wouldn't he be returning home? Nanshan Public Cemetery, Yi Shu said. Nanshan Public Cemetery? Chen Guo was once again surprised because this was exactly where she was planning to go. To go visit a friend, Yi Shu obviously saw Chen Guo's confusion, so he took the initiative to explain it to her. Oh, I'm also going there, Chen Guo said. Let's go together, Yi Shu asked. Sure, should we go now? Chen Guo asked. Wait for Mucheng, Yi Shu said. Oh, Mumu is going as well, Chen Guo replied. Usually, she would undoubtedly be more than happy to be able to interact with Mucheng. However, today was a special day. It was inappropriate to be happy because of this. They didn't wait long. Su Mucheng arrived exactly on time to Happy Internet Cafe at 7:30. Evidently, Su Mucheng and Yi Shu had arranged a time to meet beforehand. As an esports star, especially in the area of City H, it was very inconvenient for Su Mucheng to go out. Now that winter had passed, Su Mucheng was unable to dress in her tight armor, so she was wearing a large sunglasses with a baseball cap and stood briskly at the Internet Cafe's entrance. Let's go, Yi Shu stood up, while Chen Guo went to greet Su Mucheng. Chen Guo helped Su Mucheng look around to see if they had attracted any attention. Yi Shu saw this and only gave a laugh before the three set off. They called for a taxi and set off towards Nanshan Public Cemetery. Chen Guo was curious about who Yi Shu and Su Mucheng was going to visit, but it wasn't an easy question to openly ask about. As for her, even though she had never mentioned it to Yi Shu before, she reckoned that everyone in the Internet Cafe knew about her home life. Yi Shu probably knew already, so she didn't explain it herself. The atmosphere was somewhat tense. Chen Guo quickly glanced at the rear mirror from her passenger seat. Yi Shu's expression was as natural as always. As for Su Mucheng, her expression was hard to recognize because of her armor, but it felt like she wasn't too sad. Chen Guo hesitated whether she should pick a topic to talk about, but it was Yi Shu who spoke first. However, he didn't speak to Chen Guo or Su Mucheng but the rental car driver. Sir, do you play Glory? What? The driver was asked a question all of a sudden, so he was a bit surprised. Glory, an online game, Yi Shu said. Online game? Aren't those for children? How would I know? The driver scoffed. The three on the car were suddenly regarded as children. Chen Guo felt a little embarrassed, while Yi Shu appeared very natural. He turned towards Su Mucheng and spoke, you can take it off and rest. Su Mucheng quickly took off her giant sunglasses and took a long breath. So heavy. Chen Guo realized why Yi Shu had asked the driver this question. Afterwards, Yi Shu asked, it's still the previous set, right? Yeah. Tisk tisk tisk, Yi Shu continuously sighed as if feeling relieved that she didn't have to suffer because of him. Based on this topic, Chen Guo quickly joined in and helped by giving advice. Once the topic was opened up, the atmosphere was no longer heavy. Chen Guo and Su Mucheng discussed enthusiastically about makeup and other cosmetics. This took away the chance for Yishu to join in the conversation. They traveled in this way until they arrived at City H's Nanshan Public Cemetery. Although the three had arrived early, it was the Qingming festival, so there were a lot of people that had come to visit their ancestors' graves. Are you guys going to buy anything? Chen Guo asked the two. Should we buy flowers? Yishu asked Su Mucheng. Sure. Then you should pick them out, Yishu said. Of course, Su Mucheng said as she and Chen Guo entered a flower shop nearby. Not long afterwards, the two came out, each holding a bunch of flowers. The flowers that Chen Guo bought were normal flowers. As for Su Mucheng, Yishu couldn't recognize any of the flowers within her bundle. What kind of flowers are those? Yishu asked after he came over. Birds of paradise. Oh, Yishu replied, but didn't make any further remarks. The three people entered the cemetery and kept silent. They all quietly followed the stone path until Chen Guo stopped. I'm going this way, how about you guys? Oh, we'll be going a little further that way, Yishu pointed to another side along the path. Oh, I see. Then I'll go find you guys afterwards, Chen Guo said. Sure, see you later, Yishu said. See you later, Chen Guo nodded and the two said their goodbyes. Chen Guo took her bunch of flowers and went to her father's grave. Dad, I've come to see you. With a small smile, Chen Guo gently placed the bunch of flowers down. I'm doing well and so is the internet cafe, but it's a little different than before. A strange guy came and said that he would willingly take the night shift for the internet cafe. I've then discovered that he's an amazing and famous person. He's an esports player and a top tier one too. Haha, if you were some other dad, you would definitely think so what, but you're different. You opened up an internet cafe, so you know all about online games. To have such a great figure like him to come to our internet cafe and become an employee, it's weird, isn't it? I learned about him having some conflicts with his original team, so he was forced to retire and leave. However, he has no intentions on giving up at all. He's preparing to create another team to return to the professional league and aim for the championships again. As for me, I've decided to fiercely support him. This is another major decision I've made after taking over the internet cafe. I haven't had any dreams or ideals, though I wish for you could come back to life, but that's only a fantasy. It only counts as a dream if you make it into a reality with your own ability, right? I now want to work hard and create a team. What do you think? Amazing, isn't it? It's going to be very difficult, but I think it can be done. You don't have to worry about the internet cafe either. Because even though that guy and the others he brought along can be quite a mess sometimes, I have the feeling that they're all very reliable people. It feels good to be with them and I think our shared goal will become a reality. At that time, I will definitely come and tell you about it. Wait for our good news. Standing before the grave, Chen Guo told her deceased father about everything. Although he was no longer present, the tight emotions between them would never disappear. Even time wouldn't be able to collapse this bond. Chen Guo hoped that her father knew that everything was going well for her and wished that she could share the enthusiasm and happiness with him. Alright, I'll be going now. I might even bring good news the next time I see you. Chen Guo smiled as she turned and made her leave. She returned to the stone path and walked towards the direction Yishu had previously pointed to. Chen Guo had visited Nanshan Public Cemetery for quite some time, so she was pretty familiar with the place, which explained why she knew which area Yishu had previously pointed to. That area had not yet been opened when her father entered the cemetery. She couldn't remember which year that area had opened up. While thinking, Chen Guo reached one side and walked past the rows. She soon found Yishu and Su Mucheng, standing shoulder to shoulder. Chen Guo didn't go over because she knew that many people had a lot of say when visiting the graves of their dear ones, so it would be inconvenient if there was an outsider there. Chen Guo didn't walk forward, but from a distance, she could still see the name carved upon the gravestone. Su Mukyu. Chen Guo was startled. Judging from the name, the person seemed like a family member of Su Mucheng.